So just over a week ago, Steve M4 launched a mod on the workshop, which I think people have been waiting for a long time, and here it is in all its glory. It is, of course, the Class 370, or the APT, the Advanced Passenger Train. It was a train that was developed in the 1970s, in the 1980s, that was supposed to work on the West Coast Main Line, and obviously had that famous tilting technology, but was unfortunately never introduced properly. I think it saw operation on a couple of services, but it just had far too many technical issues, and there was a few bad reviews of it via the press and things like that. So yeah, here it is. It's the APT. It's looking rather wonderful. I've got it operating on the West Coast Main Line as it should have been in operation. So I've replaced all my trains with period correct trains on the West Coast Main Line, and of course a few APTs as well. I think what I'll quickly do is I'll just pause the game so we can actually take a quick look at the vehicle itself. So this is one of the fixed formation sets. This is the in multiple units, but we'll take a look at it in more detail in the depot shortly. We see here you've got obviously the driving, it's not a trailer, it's just a driving car, and then you've got the two power cars in the centre there, which is kind of an unusual arrangement. Obviously the most famous thing about this is the fact that it tilts. Obviously the West Coast Main Line is a very curvaceous railway, and in order to achieve those higher speeds above 110 miles per hour, then tilt was needed. Not so much for kind of the safety of the train or anything like that, it is just purely for passenger comfort. Yeah, I think that's one of the misconceptions. So yeah, it had a very advanced tilting system, and it had as well other things like distributed bogies, which I don't think any trains had during this period. It's really, I think this is one of the most innovative, other than the tilting mechanism, I think this is one of the most innovative things, is the distributed bogies. So sharing a bogie between each of the carriages. I don't think you see that until the TGV, is it? Which is a bit later, perhaps, but yeah, definitely really ahead of its time, this train. It was probably one of the reasons it wasn't so successful. Now, famously, there was the press run in which the press wrote that they were feeling sick and things like that, but there is a bit of a dispute about that particular run, because there was a free bar on it as well. But there's you know, some people say it's the train, some people say it's the booze. I think it depends who you were talking to, but yeah, it failed on a few things as well, with obviously being very technically advanced. It had a few technical issues to go with that. So yeah, that's the APT. Like I said, we'll take a look at it in the depot. I just want to take some time to actually fully appreciate it. Just yeah, just take time to take a look at it and to see how much work's been put into it by Steve M4 in such, I think it's a relatively short period of time. I think he kind of just really wanted to get this out there, and I think a lot of people will be glad that he did. So we'll just let him whisk past as another one goes past as well. Very nice. Before we can take a look in the depot, we're just going to head over to Derby, which is up here somewhere, to the little test track, because we do have some other things as well. So we've got this, first of all, we'll take a look at. This contains the HST Class 41 prototype power car. It contains, let's just pause the game, a carriage of some description. that's a good, we'll take a look, and then it's got some Mark 1 kind of prototypes and the Mark 3 prototypes as well within this pack. I think this was already available on the workshop, was it? But I think it's just been redone and then re-released with the other little bits and bobs as well. And we also have the APT-E, which is the experimental one, which was actually powered by gas turbine engines, which were in the front power cars here, the driving motor vehicles at the front, with the famous little window, which kind of got changed a little bit because it only had a single seat in the front, where at the time the unions were demanding, obviously a relic from the steam days, that the train had two seats at the front, so we could have two staff at the front, or well, not two drivers, but two staff at the front. Yeah, so you got the seating there, and obviously all the little bits and bobs, the APT. I think this was also available on the Steam Workshop, but it might have been redone by Steve and is included with this APT Plus pack. So let's take a look in a depot. First of all, we'll take a look at the fixed formation. So we've got the electrical multiple units. If we go down around somewhere, you've got the BR Class 370 APT, and you've got some different segments. So you've got some fixed formation ones here. You've got a 5 car, you've got a 7 car, you've got an APT, one of them. What's that one? That's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, and then you've got a 1982 as well, which, what's that one? Looks vaguely similar. Don't know if there's any, no, there's no further information on that. But you do have some separates as well, so if you do want to make your own formations, you've got the front there, you've got a rear, and then you've got one with a few extra carriages like so. So you can just, you can't actually make your own full formation, but you've got a little bit of flexibility there. And for the actual power vehicles, obviously you're going to need a locomotive. So if we go to electric locomotives and we go to, is it classed as, not classed as a diesel locomotive, is it? Oh, it's just there. Yeah, it's a bit confusing because the power car isn't a cab, is it? It's just one of those. So you'd have two of those in the middle there, and then obviously you've got those so you can actually make your own. You haven't got a reverse, have you? No. Yeah, I did a little bit of research, but I didn't do all the research I showed. But you've got one of these, which is a power car as well. I think this is one of like the very early IC 225 kind of derivatives. They took the example of the power cars and they kind of used some of the technology that they developed for the APT, and that got transferred over to the Class 91 and the Intercity 225. And then we've got this other branded RTC branded power car as well, which is one of the standard ones. So that's that. If we go to diesel multiple units, we have the fixed formation BR APT E, obviously because they're gas turbine powered, so that's more closely related to a diesel multiple unit. You've got different variants there. And then we do have the fixed formation HSTs as well, I think. Or have I gone past it? I'm pretty sure diesel, I thought there was a fixed formation HST, but I think it is all separate. So we go to diesel locomotives. We've got the prototype power cars available here, 125 miles per hour top speed, 2,281 horsepower, which I didn't actually mention for the APT. So I think we'll go for the multiple units, and then we'll go and look for it again. It's just there right in front of me. 160 miles per hour top speed. So basically these were supposed to operate at 140 miles per hour on the West Coast main line, but an APT did reach a speed of 162 miles per hour and set the British record for a railway speed record, which wasn't actually bettered until HS1 and a Class 373 broke it. I think it reached 200 miles per hour on HS1 or up towards 200 miles per hour. So it's a record that stood for a very long time, a few decades. So yeah, top speed 160, but would have been in operation for, at around 140 on the West Coast main line. Capacity of 168, but obviously you've got different variants in there. So let's just take a look at 7 car, 4,000 horsepower, 370 kilonewtons of tractive effort. Going back to these, so yeah, we've got the prototype Class 41 power cars, and then if you go to the wagons, we've got a few variants here. So we've got a BR Mark 1 Derby Research Division. We've got a HST Mark 1 prototype, as we have an autosave. And then what else have we got? We've got the Mark 3 HST prototype buffet and a trailer standard open as well, 125 miles per hour, capacity of 20. And I think, is that everything? I think it is, yeah. And then we've got obviously the power is also that's what I put on there. So I put on a APT coach. So I was in fact completely wrong. You can make your own full sets if you want. If you just want to create your own for some reason, maybe you need a specific length or something, you can just add your own carriages. So you can in fact make your own power cars, but make your own APTs. But what you'll have to do is obviously you need your driving vehicle first of all, and let's say 4 carriages because you want to make an extra long one, although that is a carriage as well. And then we're going to go to electric locomotives, and then we're going to chuck 2 of these. So that's actually, yeah, I don't know if you want to chuck 2 of those on or not, because that has 4,000 horsepower, and that would make for a pretty powerful 12,000. Why have I? Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Because the actual fixed formations are only 4,000 horsepower, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. And then yeah, just back to passenger, and then 1, 2, 3. Nope, definitely not one of them. Oh dearie me. Right, back to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then obviously the reverse on that. So you can just have the single power car. But if you choose the fixed formation multiple units, then you just end up with just one of the power cars actually being active, and one's a dummy car. Is there a dummy power car in if we go into passenger wagons? I don't think there is there? And if we go into electric, there's no dummy power car, I don't think. So yeah, it's probably best to use the fixed formations if I'm honest. But the option's there if you want to use the separates to create your own. So yeah, it does have distinctive sounds for each of the things. I'm not sure if he's copied this from one of his other gas turbine powered units, but it does have a gas powered turbine sound to it, although you're not really going to hear it very much. Yeah, you can't hear it over the Paxman Volanti HST over there, unfortunately. Right, you've all heard this before, haven't you, anyway? Let's just have a quick listen to that. Now, I think what I'll do is I'll sell that one, and then I'll put this one on. Just maybe, you might be able to hear it. I should have built a bigger test track. Okay, I'm not quite sure what's happening there, but I'm almost certain when I loaded it up the first time, the train did have engine sounds, but unfortunately it doesn't have any engine sounds at the minute. I don't know if there's a little bit of a bug or there's something that I've done differently in the meantime, but yeah, it definitely did have like a gas turbine sound on this one. So we'll just have to imagine it has the sound on that. But yeah, that's the mods. That's the APT and the APT Plus pack. I think what I will do is I will just leave you with an APT heading into London, if I can find one, and just so you can appreciate it for a little bit as it heads into the capital, obviously on the West Coast Main Line, as it would have been its natural habitat if they actually entered service, but unfortunately they didn't, and we had to wait a few decades later for tilting trains with the Pendolino. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm going to leave you with the APT heading into London, but I'm going to say until next time, bye bye.